On this beautiful Wednesday night, I just went for a walk with Roxy down the beach. There was beautiful, very bright sunshine. The sea was out, but it was so windy and such a cold wind. So I'm like wrapped up in my feel cold, wrapped up in my cardigan here. Right. Okay. So I'm gonna turn it down because what I want to show you. I have been thinking. There is something bit on my mind again, and you know me when I start thinking. So I've been working with crystals and doing sort of all sorts of different patterns with crystals before, and I kind of sometimes like. It doesn't have to be crystals. I guess we can try it with pearls as well. But I quite like sometimes in a bracelet only has like a couple of materials. So like here are the crystals and the seed beads, and then I did sort of larger ones with pearls as well. Like these two is the same technique. However, I did this one where we got like sort of 6 crystals. Let me bring in, and don't worry, I'm not going to be using all different sizes. Let's try the other color because that one is a bit doesn't show up quite well. So I'm not going to use the different sizes. I'm just going to use one size tonight. But I kind of got another idea in my head. And sort of the idea came from is sort of maybe creating little flowers out of crystals. So I want to have a little play with that one tonight, and we see how we get. I'm going to try 4mm crystals, and we see maybe we try 5 as well later on, but just kind of like stick to one for now. So I am going to be using, let's use these ones, because I've got a couple of broken strands here, so I'm going to use these colors. So it's a good way to kind of play around with them. Good evening, Linda. Good evening, Barbara. Nice to see you here. I hope you are doing well. Let me know what have you been up to, what you've been beading, what you've been making. Just take these off. Over the week, if you're in the UK, we had a bank holiday on Monday. What you've been up to. These bank holidays always kind of like throws you off a little bit because your Monday is kind of like your Sunday. So you still, and when today, like I totally had a Tuesday feeling all day. Right, what seed beads shall I use with that one? I think I might go for a white one so it will really show up next to it. Right, grabbing some thread and then we're ready to go. Right, that one will be a nice color with it. Going to treat myself to a new needle. Good evening, Dorshi. Good evening, Debbie. I hope everyone is well. Right, okay. So kind of when I start, like I would like to do like a front piece, but I got a couple of things I was thinking. Well, first of all, I don't just like, if I just made one flower, that would probably make a beautiful sort of middle piece for an earring, maybe adding a drop at the bottom of it, or a larger pearl or something. But I think if I want to make a string of them up, I could make them in a V shape for a necklace, or like straight for a bracelet. And I was thinking maybe we could pop some seed beads behind, so it's kind of like make them dome a bit. But let's just try out. This needle doesn't want to thread. Good evening, C. Right, let's, come on, there we go. Sometimes you can get 1 or 2 needles. So needles are drilled one by or another. So if they don't want to thread one, they like turn the needle around and try to thread it from the other way. Right, so I'm going to start with, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. I'm going to start with 6 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to take this down. Hopefully you will be able to see them, as the background is white as well. I'm going to come through all 6 of them to form a circle. And I'm going to go through, could do 5. I could have a 5-pointed one, but then it's more going to be a star-like, I guess. So as I'm coming out of this seed bead, I'm going to pick up a crystal and I'm going to pick up another seed bead. I'm going to take this down. I was thinking about this today. In Bead Club, we're coming back through beads, and it's kind of, and we're doing the pendant. We actually played with this a couple of weeks ago, still on here. And as I was coming back, I was like, this would make a lovely pattern on itself. So I'm just going to go back to the crystal. And then I'm going to come through the same seed bead I was just through. So I'm going to centralize the crystal on the top of that seed bead. And this top one will be turned once we get on the other side. Now I need to go through one more to be able to add another crystal. And I'm gonna add crystals all the way around in the same matter. So it's always picking up a crystal and the seed beads. I'm gonna come back through the crystal and then through the same seed beads I just been through, but from the other side, and then the next seed bead. And pull this up nice and tight. Let's pull this out. So that's the second. I need to add further 4 more. Good evening, Mina. Nice to see you. Amelia, good evening. Let me know what you've been up to this week, what you've been making. And if you just joined, I have been thinking of sort of how we can make sort of beaded flowers in a way, but or something like which kind of represent a flower. So I started out with 6 seed beads, and now I'm just adding the crystals going all the way around. So going through there, and the 2 seed beads. So they kind of, these bicorns gonna act as like little petals. You could have done with 8 as well. But sometimes 6 is just like, when you do flowers, 6 is just like a magic number in a way. And one more. I'm gonna come through here and add the last one in. I could have slightly bigger crystals because they are not shoulder to shoulder sort of speed. They're not right next to each other, so there's a bit of a gap between them, but because there is no gap between them, so we could, if we joined those up, we could make the crystals kinda stand up sort of in a 45-degree angle in a pattern, and then start the next one. I think that would look good as well. But let's add another unit onto it and see what happens. So I'm going to go through. What are these? Did I go through the wrong way? I think that very 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, that's right. But it went through the wrong way there. Never mind. We got a little gap there. Because these two, for some reason, I think my thread must have got caught, because it's kinda, and there it is, I can see. So which one was the last one? Was it this one? Yeah. I'm gonna pull it back a bit so I can release that thread. Will I be able to do it? There it is. And then tighten. Sometimes, like you're trying to go back and release the thread and you just make a bigger mess than what it was before. And sometimes it's easier to start again. Well, let's see if we can. Just need a little more wiggle room. So we can pull that through. If not, then we will just ignore it and carry on. need a little bit more so. And then I might just make a bigger mess than what I had by trying to go back and undo it. Right. So I'm pulling on the end of the seed beads to kind of go back on my thread bath. But I don't think I will be able to go all the way down. Must have sewn through the thread somewhere. It had to be right, this one at the end. Okay, so I think, are we good? There is a thread. Are we good? Sometimes it's nice to have a little tweezer and try to pull. I wouldn't be so worried about it sometimes, but if you have got a thread sort of caught on something, it can cause havoc in a way that the bead is not going to sit right. Right. Yay! Look, it's going through. There we go. Almost had it. I just need to push that crystal through that loop. Not that one, just that one. There we go. And now if I pull this tight, they should all, by theory, sit the right way. There we go. So we freed up that little petal from that loop. There we go. Pulling it tight. Pulling the last one tight. And then if you pull on our tail, on our tail, our working thread, it should all go. That's better. So now each one of the crystals are sitting above a seed bead. So I'm going to go into any seed bead, or any crystal. I'm going to get to the end. So in theory, if I added another flower on here, then this seed bead here would be the part of the 6. So I'm going to pick up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to come through the same seed bead from the other side. So that one is already have a crystal on it. And then go one more. Now the next crystal will share, will the next crystal share the end there? You reckon? We could make it that way. That crystal is sharing the end with that crystal. So if I just pick up a crystal, and instead of picking up a seed bead as well, I'm going to go through this seed bead here. So kind of like link them. And then go back through the crystal, through the seed bead, and the next one. So that's 1 seed bead and 2 seed bead. I'm gonna go and add them going all the way around. And then if that would share that, or no, but that wouldn't. It like pulls it. I think I definitely probably need bigger crystals to be able to. What do you think? Let me know in the chat. Gail, good evening. Janice, good evening. Lucy, good evening. Mina, good evening. So I'm just going to add the crystals going all the way around, just making sure I don't get another rogue loop again. I wonder if we could do it. I think we could do it with pearls as well. 100% would look good. The bicons are good because they kind of fit together in a way. another crystal, another seed. So if those two, if this was a bracelet and those two were the one which is linked, then we would still need, with this side, I think that would pull it too much. But then it's going to be on an angle, then maybe it will be good on an angle. So I'm going to add, for this last crystal, I'm going to add a seed bead on. And then just go through this here. So it will sit on it properly, and just let's have a look. So if we wanted to, I think if you added those together, is they would definitely kind of move in a way. So maybe just one in the middle there and leave the rest of them sort of free, because maybe they do need maybe seed beads in between them, rather and join with one crystal. If you join it with two crystals like we did, it kind of leads itself to do it on the other side, but then I think that's going to pull it out of shape. So I'm gonna cut this off. I'm gonna grab a bigger crystal, I think one size up. I got 5 mils here, so let's have a play with them and see if they're gonna sort of sit better around the seed beads. So once again, I'm gonna start with 6 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Try 6 crystals and then make petals with Toho and add one for the pointed leaf. What do you mean by that, Mina? Let me know. So again, starting with 6 seed beads, I'm gonna go around and the first 2 again, so I can pull this in nice and tight. Now this is 5 mil crystals. So again, picking up a crystal, then a seed, coming back to the crystal, the other side of that seed bead. So it's gonna, both sides of the seed beads are connected to the crystal that way. And I'm gonna go and add these all the way around. So these are 5 mils, just one size up. Maybe I could go down to size 15 with the 4 mils, but I think if you go down to size 15, because you have to go through the seed beads quite a few times, it might be tricky. So then we just up the crystal size. Because I think if you just made one flower, that would be a really nice little, you could put that in a earring, like a little dangle earring, maybe just have a drop at the bottom. Going through the same seed and the one in front. Where's the tail? There we go. And just 2 more. Still kinda, I don't know. Still doesn't really sit as tight as I want it to sit. So I went up in size. And then the last crystal. Oh, hang on. We need to go through one more seed bead. I want to add the crystal on the top of the seed bead, not like in between, because sometimes we could add in between, but then that can like push your middle apart a bit, or I think because now if you had it this way, the crystal is kind of supported, so can you see both sides of the seed beads with a thread path? So it's more likely to stay in a shape. That's better. I like that better, but maybe we can even go up to 6 mils. I see if I got any around and have a look. Now if we joined another flower to this, maybe we're just joining it with one seed bead, because even if that would be the same, that crystal, the 6th crystal, would be the same for both of them. Or maybe we could just have like a little cluster of seed beads. Maybe that would work as well. Let me just go out. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go out on the next one, and I'm gonna add another cluster of 6, and I'm not gonna join up the ends. I'm only gonna be joined by this end, and then we see how it sits down. So I'm picking up 5 seed beads, 1 2 3 4 5, coming through that seed bead again, and I'm gonna come through the next one, and I'm gonna add a crystal on with a seed bead, oh, I guess you do need a seed beads, because even though they would be neighboring ones in the next cluster of 6, they would be 2 different seed beads. So if this made up the next sort of cluster of 6, that would be 2 different seed beads anyhow. So I think by sewing them together in the previous one, it didn't connect to the right seed bead. Six crystal for center to start, then Toho for leaf. Like make a little leaf out of Toho beads. Is that what you mean, Mina? Let me know. So crystal and a seed, and then coming through. There we go. If you have any questions, put a Q in front of your questions and know it's for me. And let us know what you've been doing all week, what you've been beading, what you've been making. Right, so this is 1 2 3 4 5. We need to, yeah, there is one more to add after this. So crystal, seed. Right, I think that's a better fit together, but then we still need to work out if we wanted this as a bracelet, wanted this as a necklace, how and where are we gonna connect them up. Right, let me just pull this knife. I'm gonna pop it down. So that's kind of does sit better. However, I can go on and add another one on here and then go all the way down, but I think what happens, this kind of loses a little bit, loses of the flower, sort of that pretty flower shape. So unless if I join those up. So I think perhaps what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come into this opposite one. I'm gonna add one more on, and then we see maybe if we added different color crystals, that would look good. Oh, come on, where I am. 1 2 no, that one I need to go through. Maybe if you added different color crystals, that would be perhaps would make them stand out. the 6 together. So what I mean is, if these 6 is one color, these 4 is one color, and the next 6 is one color as well, that perhaps could look good. So I'm going to add another unit just to see how does it look like. Sort of, it might just, sometimes you just need to do a little bit more and then it kind of works out. Amina said she's going to find her earrings and send me a picture. Thank you very much. So I'm going to add the crystals all the way around on this. There we go. Come on, I almost looped it again. I think when you're making, or when you're beading, oh, I need to go to next seed. When you're beading something sort of spiky-ish like this, you always run the risk, and you have to be extra sort of aware of and extra looking at for that your thread doesn't wrap around, because it can really pull the pattern when you have a rogue thread. Right, I'm almost around. I think this would make a lovely necklace, as a lovely bracelet as well, because you can sort of bead it in straight, but you could bead it on the angle as well, so kind of creating a natural curve as well. 2 more to add. Crystal, seed, and coming through the same seed bead from the other side. Then the last one. No, actually, now I added the third one in. I'm kind of happy with it. I think it looks nice. And coming through the same seed again, and then I have to get to the other side. So actually does I think it does look nice. Now I added another unit. What do you think? Let me know in the chat if I wanted to make this into a necklace, instead of connecting it sort of on the opposite, I could have connected it on this to create either a V shape. But I reckon even if you connect it like this, we have got sort of playroom. We could run around on the outside of it with seed beads, and then if we run around on the outside with seed beads, kind of make a frame for them. So if I go to the next end, the other thing what we could do is just have maybe a cluster of 6 seed beads in between before the next flower. So then we would have like a gap in between. So I'm going to come through that seed bead. I'm going to pick up 6. So do I want 6 or do I want 4? So the thread is wrapped around again. Let's just have a look. So if the next flower is there, so if I want in between, and then I want to, yeah, maybe I'm gonna pick up just 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then come through from the other side, then go to the end. So I want to come out of the middle of that 3 I just added. Crystal seed, going back through, coming from the other side of this seed, back through the crystal, through the seed, and then I'm going to pick up 5. So this way I will have a gap in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come from the other side. So from a little circle, I'm gonna add the crystals in. Need a few more crystals. And then we see if there's a gap in between. Will that look better? Like, will the flower stand out a bit more? I think they will. Other bicone for the center of the 6-star hood, then make a flower. Yep, that is just what I did. I love it when like we think alike. But then that's the whole beauty of this. Like, you can make your own thing. You can do all sorts of different thread paths. Kelly's saying, question regarding needles. How do big eye needles differ from regular needles if you have to use them because you can't thread a regular needle due to eye size? So, big eye needles, the whole of the needle is an eye. Some of the ladies, like even in the bead club, they do use big eye needles. I got one here so I can show you. Let me just go around this and then I grab the big eye needle. So a regular needle, you know, you got the size of the needle and then the eye is right at the top. With a big eye needle, which is this one, they're quite bendy. The whole of the needle is an eye, and you can kind of split it into two and thread your needle with it. If I use big eye needles, I always use the long ones because I prick myself with them. Because when I go through a bead, what I usually do is to push the needle in and then I push the needle through with a finger, and and especially usually with this one I do with my middle finger. If you do that with a big eye needle, because both ends are sharp, sometimes it can get you like really hurt the ends. So threading needle is can be difficult if the eyes are a little bit smaller. However, there's a couple of tricks what you can sort of make it easier for you. So number one to bear in mind is the needles are drilled from one way to another. So they punch, the hole is actually punched in the needle, the metal itself. So it's always easier to thread a needle from the side where it was punched through. So if I'm trying to thread this needle this way and I haven't got much success, then I just turn the needle around and try to thread it from that way, if that makes sense, because it's easier. There's another thing what you can do to make it easier to thread a needle is, let me just go through these two beads. So when you cut your thread, the end of your thread, don't cut it flat. And what I mean by that, let me just grab a thread. There's a thread here. Let me just grab a needle as well. So when you cut your thread, don't cut it flat like that, because with that one you create a flat surface on the end of your thread. Instead, if you turn either your thread or either your scissors and kind of like cut along like that, so now I have created a more of a pointy end on the thread, and lip seal or anything kind of helps to just to bind those threads together at the end. And then when I'm threading a needle, most people are bringing the thread to the needle, and can you see what happens when I'm pushing the needle towards the thread? The end of the sort of thread is kind of like moves about, and it's harder to thread it that way. So when I thread a needle, I kind of hold the thread quite steady, and I'm bringing the needle to the thread, and I'm kind of hooking the thread onto the the needle onto the thread, and by doing that you kind of can feel it because it catches it at the end, and it's much easier to thread it that way. There we go, and then I just pull the thread through. So that's a couple of different ways, or a couple of different things you can do there. Now the only thing we're going to have with this, going back to our flower, what happened here? What happened? Oh, I think I got a rogue thread somewhere. This doesn't want to sit flat. There we go. If you do it this way, then we add something in the middle. There's the rogue thread. Another rogue thread. Let's just try to pull this back. I'm not doing very well with these rogue threads tonight. So what happened? Is that the last one we added? Or is that the last one? No, that must be the last one. Is that loop going to be big enough now so we can pull the crystals through? A tweezer by a side is like, can save you and help you out of so many troubles, just so you're able to hold on to the thread. Come on. Second time today this has happened. They said it does come in threes. They do say it's coming in threes. Right, let's take it through that one first then. And then take this through the loop. And I think we should be good. Are we good? Or are we still twisted? Oh, did I go to the wrong thread? No, it's still twisted. So I'll take it through there. There we go. Through the seed bead as well. And then this one, so it was twisted twice. There we go, and now we are free. So I'm going to pull on the end. So I think the problem we kind of going to fall into if you do it this way, if you add something in the middle, that then your flowers are able to flop around and twist. So we either need to come in with some seed beads at the end and link it all up. So I'm going to go out. It doesn't matter which of the petals because we're going to go all the way around. They do say, I just said, I think I jinxed it when I said they comes in threes. Right, let's make sure it doesn't, not pulling it tight before I make sure, yeah, there we go. So if I go out, how many seed beads do I think I need in between? Let me just pick up 1, 2, 3. I think 3 might not be enough. We might need 4. So I want to come out of the seed bead. I'm going to pick up 4 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then go into the next one. I'm Gary saying great tips. Thank you. Many of us need that help. I think I was one of the she's a Julie, she's a lovely she's a teacher as well, and she's been teaching needlework on all sorts of sewing and bits of pieces, and she's the one who said to me to or taught me that way, because you never really sit down and think about that. Oh, how shall I be threading this needle So if we had to go in, I think there, let me just pick up 4 and see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because if you went to the end of the bracelet and you made your pattern, I think they need to be linked up, because if they're not linked up, then they kind of just going to, do I need 5 or 4? I'm gonna stick with the 4 and see, to add like an edge to it all. So I'm picking up another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So should these two, do I need a seed in between those two? Do I need a seed? I don't think. I think I can just kind of connect those two up and then pick up 4. Maybe even 3. I'm going to stick with the 4 for just a sec. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to the next one. And then that one. So I would have the whole length of the bracelet sort of running up, and then I would run up and down. So I'm gonna go adding 4s around, because I do think, like, if we had if you made those flowers, and they I think they look really great for an earring, they would be great that way, because, like, you know, it doesn't really get stuck on things. But I think if I'm making into a bracelet, I kind of want to add like a clear, clean edge to it, so I know my bracelet is not gonna get caught on anything. Or even if it's a necklace, you kind of just want to protect it, like add a frame, add the edge of for the flower bed to your flower. Add an edge to it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then going to those 2. Then what do we think? 1, 2, 3, 4. Going these 2. This is twisted back. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's definitely worth to play with. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the final 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna come through here. So I'll just pop it down and have a look. So I think that looks quite nice as well when you get the individual flowers, but I kind of do like this. Which one do you like better? The one where they link together, or the one when they separate? And the next one would be separate as well and all the way down. So he's saying, how did you work that out? Well, I don't know if you were here when I did this a long time ago, and these are like sewing 3 crystal beads together with seed beads in between. And I was I was doing the pendant today in BeadClub, which we sort of worked out a couple of weeks ago, and we were making it today. And what we started with is sort of a circle, and then we made this little petals, and that's how I sort of embezzled it. And I'm thinking this on its own would make such a lovely little flower. And then I was thinking, sitting there thinking, oh, what if I just had one pearl, or I had one crystal on it, to have it like sort of 5, 6 or 8 pointed. Yes, I've been thinking about it this afternoon, and I think that would look really good as a bracelet if these 6 would be one color, and these two would be a different color crystal. So if I just pick this one up here, hang on, and put you on the top so you can visualize it. So that would be one color, and this one crystal is rolling. So these two, and then I just stop that one and that one as well. So these two in the middle would be a different color, then you always would get a full flower. I think that would look good as well. So there's loads of different things. Loads of different things you could do with like such a simple pattern, really, because it's you just make a circle, put 5 crystals on it, then go to the end, make another circle, and so on and so on, and then and it would make, I think it would make a lovely bracelet or a necklace, and because you could connect these up sort of in a V shape as well. I think that would look really good. Now the question is, do we add something in the top of those? So we could even decorate it further if you wanted to kind of represent the middle of the flowers. That would look good as well. Actually, if it's all the same color and I add something in the seed bead there, in the middle of the seed bead, I think then it brings it back again to kind of like a flower. So I think that would look nice as well. What do you think? Adding something in the middle? I just had this 3mm hematite on my table here, so I just thought I just pop it in so we can have a look. I think that would look good as well. I like that. I think that's really worth to play around with it and to do something with it. Now, one more thing I want to try. I want to kind of make these flowers pop. So, in a way, how can we, hang on, how can we have something which would make them pop? If we had, but then I guess we could do it, we could have it, I got another idea. We could have it, I got another idea. We could have, if we just had 3 seed beads in between, but if we were adding the seed beads in between, why don't we add the seed beads in right at the start? Right, I just need that needle will do. So if you had the seed beads right at the start, then instead of, kind of, it will be a different technique. Going back to the technique I did on that bracelet, on the other bracelet, you will be sewing, well, 2 crystals and seed beads together. So I would start with picking up, see the crystal, well, it doesn't really matter where I start, but crystal, seed, crystal, and then 3 or 4 seed beads. I think I'm going to do 3, and I'm going to go back down in size. Oh, come on, my thread is tangled. There we go. So I'm going to go back down to this crystal. So I want to pick up a crystal, seed, crystal, and let's say 3 seeds. So if I started with this and kind of made a flower this way, so I'm going to go through all of them one more time, just sort of I can have we did a flower crystal bauble not long ago, and the outside was I think I got a little knot on my thread there. The outside was can't remember what happened to you. There we go. I think it came through. Instead of the 3 seed beads, we would have added pearls. I think it's a little bit twisted. So I'm gonna go back down into the middle. Is it the middle? No. I'm gonna come through the crystal, because in the side is where we want to add the thing. So I'm gonna pick up, because I'm facing outwards, I'm gonna pick up 3 seeds. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to pick up a crystal and another seed. So then come through the crystal from the other side. And then I'm going to go through the 3 seeds and the crystal. Because my needle is facing inwards, I'm picking up a seed, crystal, and then 3 seeds. 1, 2, 3. Coming to the crystal from the other side. Going through the seed and the crystal. Next one, I'm picking up seed, 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 crystal, seed. I'm gonna come through the crystal again, through the 3 seeds and a crystal. Some 1, 2, 3, 4. One more I want to add. I'm facing inwards, so starting with a seed, then crystal, then 3 seeds, 3, coming to the same crystal, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna come to the seed and a crystal. So now I just need to add the missing seeds. So picked up 3 seeds. I'm gonna go down on the very first crystal. I'm gonna pick up a single seed and go up to the very last crystal. So they all have 3 seeds on the outside in between and 1 seed in the middle. I'm going to weave my thread around. I'm going to come into the middle and I'm going to tighten up that middle. Perhaps we could have added them on at the start and somehow worked around. So there's so many different thread paths you can create the same look. And sometimes when you do something 10 times and for the 11th times you can sort of come up with a new thread path. So there we go. I'm sewing all these together to pull them together, and it does make it stand up a little bit. So if I did it this way, so again the look is similar, but we're getting to that sort of end result in a different way. So now I'm going to come to the edge. I'm going to go through a 3 seed bead. I'm going to pick up a crystal, seed, crystal, come through these 3, just like that, and now I'm building my next flower. So I'm going to go in, and actually this time, shall we try to add the 6 on first and then bead around it that way. I'm getting threads coming at me first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to come through that single, so I'm going to add the middle in first, then go through the next one. I'm going to pick up a crystal, 1, 2, 3 seeds, come down to this crystal, which is already on there, then travel towards the next. So I'm gonna go through 1, 2 seed beads in the middle. If you do it this way, you're gonna be picking up just like, if I do it this way, you're gonna be picking up different things as you go around. If you do it this way, you're always going to be picking up a crystal and 3 seed beads as you go around. So come down on that one, the one I am just coming out of. It's probably quicker this way. So crystal, 1, 2, and much sturdier to hold on to as well. And last one, crystal, seed, 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 coming through the crystal before, and I'm gonna go out on the very first crystal, pick up 3 seed beads, 1, 2, 3, and then come down to this crystal. And since I'm in the middle, I can run around in the middle if I want again, and then travel to the end, just like that, and then add another one on. But I could be adding that on anywhere, really. Maybe if I had a bit bigger crystals, it would pop up a little bit more. What do you think? Let me know. What do you think? I like this version, but I like this version as well. Very similar, but there is subtle differences in between. If I did it this way, I possibly would go around the edge again, or maybe I would leave it just like that. But there's different ways. So we could add, no, but that wouldn't. We could add another flower here. So you can't make those part of it. Each flower will be separate. We could add another flower here. And then we could have a sort of a double length as well with this one, or even triple. We could do so many different things, or add them on an angle. So if I weave it around, if that would be, I'm just gonna weave my thread around, and I'm just gonna have a look. So if I wanted to add another unit here, I'm going to add up a crystal, seed, crystal, come through those again, sort of adding it on an angle. You could make such a lovely pattern. I keep saying, like, I could do coasters and bits of pieces because I so love geometric shapes. I really, really love them. Now I need a seed first, a seed, crystal, then come to these 3. Oh, not 2, 3. I want the third one as well. Come on, in you go. And so that would be the start of, like, this would be another flower, and I'm just gonna add. I need to add 4 because I got 2 there already. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so these together. And I could go along, and it would be the same again. So I'm picking up a crystal, and 1, 2, 3 seeds. I like this pattern. I really like. What do you think? I like both versions. Mina saying, like the turquoise one. They're both kind of turquoise. This one is a bit more aqua. So crystal first, then 3 seed beads. 1, 2, 3. Coming to the crystal from before, and through the 2 seeds. Crystal and 3 seeds. 1, 2, 3. Crystal and the 2 seeds. And up that crystal, and then I'm just picking up 3 seeds. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So you could have all sorts of different. I quite like that. I really like how you could make sort of a wider cuff bracelet with this one as well. So we could have it on the angle really too. So I could have 2, another 2 here, and then 2, 3, 2, or I could have 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So not having a and again I'm gonna go back, borrow some of these beads from here, some of these 3mm. We could have those, add a more sort of bits of pieces in at the end to fill our gaps in if you wanted to. maybe not right there, but in the middle of the flowers we could add things in. Let's get rid of that. I think that would look really good as well. That's pretty. I like that one. I'm definitely gonna play around with this one this week. And see, like, this is how you start off with that. You start off with that, then you kind of go on to this, and then that idea turns into this. So this is kind of how, when you're designing something or doing something, you just flow from one thing to another. And then if we could have one here, so they would make like little diamonds as well, I think that would be really nice. And we could do and we could have, if I just added 2 single ones here and keep continuing adding them that way, I could make a nice V-shape necklace as well. So this could be the center, and then going up further. That would look really good as well. I'm definitely playing around with this one this week. Right, everybody, I hope you have a good week, have a good weekend. If you're in the UK, you got Bank Holiday Monday next weekend for the coronation. I'm really looking forward to it. On Sunday we have got a street party on my road, so I'm looking forward to that one as well. Everybody have a beautiful week. Enjoy yourself, keep on beading, keep on crafting, send me some pictures what you've been out doing, what you're doing. I would love to see it, and I will see you next week. Bye everybody. Bye. Thank you so much for turning up and spending your time with me on